Consideration of Resolution 501. Chair now recognizes Stephen Richmond of New Jersey, delegate from the International Law Section, for purposes of moving Resolution 501.
Thank you, Chair Vance. I move Resolution 501.
Second.
Many of you have heard some variation on the following words. They come from the German theologian Martin Niemöller. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. You can substitute these groups and these words with any number of people. Today, I want to substitute the words and talk about the Hezara ethnic group in Afghanistan, and that is the purpose of this resolution. Who will speak for them? The American Bar Association, as a leader in international law, as a leader in human rights, as a leader in support for the rule of law, with this resolution will. The resolution urges governments to recognize, stop, and prevent genocide. And yes, make no mistake, there is genocide going on in Afghanistan against this group. Under the United Nations Convention on Genocide, what is happening meets that definition. This is not new. The persecution has gone on for over a century. Unfortunately, the persecutors continue to change, but the atrocities do not. There have been documented reports, for example, of women being sold into slavery. There is a history in the 20th century and more recently of absolute massacres. We need to have policy that builds on our positions with regard to Afghanistan. You'll recall our gender apartheid resolution. We regularly interface with the State Department as to the priorities of the ABA as an NGO, particularly when the State Department appears before the United Nations. It is important to prioritize, shine a light, and speak for people who need our voice. The Hezara are an ethnic group in the highlands of Afghanistan. As I've mentioned, they have suffered violence and oppression for many years. The Taliban has made clear its intention to eradicate them. This resolution calls for not just the recognition, but for the United States to take an active position through its State Department to hold people accountable and also to prioritize this within the international framework in which we act. I urge your support for Resolution 501.
Thank you, Mr. Richmond. Chair recognizes Sarah Sanford of Washington, delegate. She waives. Chair recognizes Michael Biowitz, delegate at large from New York. Mr. Biowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Mike Biowitz. I'm a delegate at large. You've heard already, the Afghan regime is horrible. It's horrible in this respect and in many other respects. Minorities are harassed. Genocide is being committed against the Hezara. Women's rights have been eliminated. And those who worked in the legal system had to run for their lives, literally. The ABA has been a leader in many respects. The ABA is doing work to help Afghan refugees get to the United States, and the ABA task force that I chair is working to help Afghan legal professionals become lawyers in the United States. Please pass this resolution, and please consider helping Afghans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Biowitz. Chair now recognizes Rula Alouche, delegate from the Kentucky Bar Association, to speak in favor of the resolution. Ms. Alouche.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise in support of Resolution 501 and to remind myself first and each of you next that we as advocates of the rule of law must stand against genocide wherever it is happening in the world, whether it be against the Hezara population in Afghanistan or in other places in the world. Let us mean what we say when we say never again, even when it might challenge us. Never again, unfortunately, yet again is now, and each human life is worth protecting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alouche. The chair holds no further salmon slips on Resolution 501. Mr. Richmond, you have the right to close. He waives. The Question is on the adoption of Resolution 501. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Resolution 501 is adopted.